Welcome to Maximize Living. I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen. Together with co-host Stacy Hansen, we're going to cover the epidemic of shoulder pain this week. The shoulder is the most mobile joint in the body, but being so mobile often leaves the shoulder susceptible to instability and injury. Fully 1/3 of all people have issues with their shoulders. Not only can shoulder pain cause sleepless nights, but it's common to have shoulder pain limit movement, affect work, and prevent you from doing the recreational and sports you love. I've been blessed to have been able to teach over 2,000 hours of continuing education on extremity care to doctors throughout the United States, Europe, and Canada for many years. Today, I'd like to cover what common causes of shoulder pain are, demonstrate a typical exam, types of shoulder adjustments, and rehab exercises. So stay tuned for life-changing information on shoulder pain and what can be done about it naturally without drugs and surgery.
And welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. So we're talking about the shoulder today. Why are there so many shoulder problems out there?
Well, the shoulder is a very complex joint, and it's the most mobile joint in the body. So anytime you have a joint that's mobile, it's subject to a lot more injuries. So people get hurt from sports injuries, blocking a shot. They get hurt from throwing movements. They get hurt from lifting overhead or falls. So there's multiple injuries. And it's also quite complex because there's many, many joints involved. So just raising your arm alone, the scapula has to lift way up on our friend Slim here. Lift way up like that. It's amazing how it'll turn out 90 degrees. But there's many joints involved in the shoulder girdle. We hear of rotator cuff impingement commonly. That's when the head of the humerus, the ball and socket, jam way up tight like this and impinge a tendon called the supraspinatus. The only reason I say that is because like 90% of the shoulder problems. And it's a tendon that gets pinched, and then when we show later, a muscle strength will be very weak when that impingement is going on. And then we have the sternoclavicular joint, where the sternum meets the clavicle, and the other end, where the end of the clavicle, the acromioclavicular joint, AC joint for short. And we also have problems with the ribs in the back that'll be affected with the shoulder, or even the ribs in the front affecting a junction with the cartilage in the shoulder. So it's a very complex movement that all has to work in harmony for the shoulder to work right. One joint distorts and subluxates, the other ones start working improperly, and it just causes a whole chain of effects.
So you mentioned some of the things that can cause this, some sports.
Absolutely, yeah. Throwing movements, bench press in weightlifting. I've taken care of many weightlifters.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And the heavy bench pressing can do it. So if you're doing a weightlifting and you find yourself going up crooked as you do your bench press, or you notice your throwing movements off, there's something wrong in your alignment. And so chiropractic is very popular with athletes to help them throw better and have better timing, better accuracy, better movements.
So I'm assuming now this affects the neck too as well?
Exactly, and that's a hidden secret about the cervical spine. For people with chronic neck pain that just doesn't seem to get better, we look at other places. One of those is the shoulder. The shoulder, an arm weighing some 20 pounds, can really drag on the neck and keeping it under strain and tension. So for the neck to be healthy, you really want to keep that shoulder girdle moving properly, otherwise it's a constant drag on the neck. Pulling the neck out of alignment or subluxating it and creating pain. So they really do work together.
Now can this go all the way down, further down Slim's arm here and down his elbow?
Yes, it can. In fact, many people that I've seen with chronic neck and shoulder problems, they'll start developing problems in the like tennis elbow and golfer's elbow, because bad mechanics in one joint reflects right into bad mechanics in another joint.
Now, is there some ways that you can keep this from happening? Maybe some prevention techniques?
Well, yes. One of the best ways to prevent it is to make sure it is functioning in good alignment. So if you're having pain, obviously get a checkup and do some tests we're going to demonstrate in a minute. But even if you're not having pain, get tested to see is everything functioning properly. Patients are often surprised where when we do an exam, we check things and we find imbalances in their shoulder, and then they say, oh yeah, it does kind of ache. Or they say, oh, I forgot to mention that, and it's really been an issue too. And so they tie closely in with the neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist.
So it can come all the way down, and you're saying you see this a lot in your practice.
I've had people who could barely push a door open for years. They were giving up. They can't sleep at night because their arm is aching. And we do a number of tests which we'll show, and we find 7, 8 different subluxations in their shoulder girdle,
wow,
in their elbow, in their wrist, in their ribs. And as we adjust them, those tests get better, their pain gets better, and they get function back. And one day they're pushing that door open with the arm they thought they couldn't use again. Now, it doesn't happen with everybody, but it's pretty predictable, and it's really a pre and post test type of thing where you know you're improving.
Well, you know what's coming next. I'm going to ask you to check me like I always do. Stay with us. That's up next. And welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. So how common is this shoulder pain?
It's a real problem. 1 in 3 people have shoulder pain. There's 2 sides, 1 on each side. 1 in 3 people that's got one of their shoulders bothering them.
Now it sounds like an epidemic.
It really is, and it's because it's such a mobile joint, it's often injured.
So can you check me just
Sure.
to be sure here?
Yeah.
I always ask you this.
Yeah, well, we love to check people because
Okay.
it's not just about treating someone with pain, it's finding out where the weaknesses are. And if you're an athlete, this is critically important. You want to be at your best condition, not just simply out of pain.
Okay, so
first
how do we
thing,
start here?
We're going to check a range of motion in an exam. So we're going to do what we call abduction, abduction, and go up as high as you can. You should be able to go up to 180 degrees without pain. Now, if you have a shoulder problem, that won't get very far. A lot of people run right about 90 degrees, start really feeling it, especially with a rotator cuff impingement. The next one is forward flexion. That also should be able to go up to 180 degrees. And then we reach behind the back, looking about 60 degrees. Another way to compare is see how far up your back you can reach with that arm and compare arms. And lastly, going across your body. You get a good 45, 50 degrees going back, and it shouldn't be painful. So those ranges of motion are very important. Next, if you'd lie on your back for me.
Okay.
Casey. A lot of the joints in the shoulder are tender if they're out of alignment. So we like to put pressure on them to see. Not because it's fun to put pressure on people in pain, but it tells us what's wrong. Now, so we'll push on the clavicle, the sternum where it reaches in the clavicle touch. We'll push on the end of the clavicle by the shoulder, the AC joint. And if that's out of alignment, it'll often be percussion tender. We'll also put pressure where on the shoulder, right in this area here. And if there's rotator cuff impingement, that'll often hurt. We can also palpate down the bicep. If there's bicipital tendon problems, that'll be tender as well. So we use some orthopedic tests that are very helpful to help diagnose. And the first one I like to call the Klingon sign.
Kapla. Or is that a curse word? I can't remember.
We load the shoulder like that. If that shoulder's already jammed up and inward, which is epidemic, this would irritate it some. And for the end of the clavicle, if you just do a sign like this, raising the arm up overhead, all these names, orthopedic tests have proper names, so if you want to be famous, you name an orthopedic test after yourself.
I guess you've got to get one, huh?
Yeah, I'm not that famous. Crossover test 2, again, loads there. Now, when that's done, we've done orthopedic tests, we've done range of motion, we've done percussion testing and palpation. What's really unique about extremity adjusting is that when a joint is misaligned, it's going to torque the ligaments. Ligaments have a lot of nerve endings, and when there's a subluxation present, a certain muscle is going to go weak, the one that's on that same nerve. So we can actually go through and isolate which joint is having a problem by doing muscle testing. It's very orthopedic. So we'll start with the rotator cuff here. Hold, don't let me push. Good. You don't have rotator cuff impingement.
Good news.
Hold. This is for the clavicle at the sternum.
Okay.
Don't let me pull down and out. Good. Punch up. This is for the ribs behind the shoulder blade. Hold, don't let me push. Good. This is for the end of the clavicle here. Hold, don't let me push. And you're good. Those are strong tests. Good. This is a bicep test where we pull. Let your arm just rest here.
Okay.
And don't let me pull. Now, a lot of people with a shoulder impingement will have bicep involvement. And then lastly, a common problem is the shoulder is actually displaced posterior or backwards. And for that test, you scoot this way a little bit.
Okay. Try to
And you
fall
tuck
off.
your elbow down, and then I pull out like this.
Okay.
And if you scoot that way, I'll demonstrate it on that side. You put it there, and I'm simply pulling out like this. Now, what's common is that people have multiple weaknesses on those tests. And then we devise specific adjustments to decompress. Just as a light demonstration, it'd look like this, or an adjustment on the clavicle like this. So there are many different types of adjustments used to correct the shoulder, and it's very helpful in overall health and in the neck care.
And welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. So Dr. Pat, talking about shoulder pain, let's do some exercises. We love to do these.
It really helps. Actually, a patient doing their part is 30 to 40% of the correction. So we want to encourage you and have that culture that you're doing these exercises regularly, because it really helps your doctor out.
I'm ready.
So, but I want to demonstrate a few exercises that people
Okay.
have trouble with and how to do them better. The first one is a lateral raise. This is one we don't want you to do, where you raise your arms completely lateral like this. For people, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people get hurt doing this exercise and won't do very many reps.
Okay, yeah,
what
I
I'd
don't wanna
rather
get
have you do is bend your arms like this on both sides, and then raise your elbows up in the air. You can even go into more of a horse stance and do this. Excellent, and you're going to look like the Hulk before you know it.
Yep, just as strong.
Yep, you're
That's
doing
right.
great. Okay, so that's easier than doing a lateral raise. Now, a lot of people have trouble where they do front raises when they start lifting weights. They do a front raise like this, with the palms down. Again, straining the shoulder. A much better way to do a front raise for developing the shoulder muscles is to have thumbs up and then just alternate one at a time.
Okay. Oh yeah, you definitely feel a
You
difference in
it
the
saves
shoulder.
your shoulders when you just alternate and you have the thumbs up. And it's really going to concentrate better without straining the shoulder, which is a big concern. The next one, so many people have hurt themselves doing overhead lifting, and they do it in a way that's hard on their shoulder. So when people do overhead lifting, go ahead and sit down.
Okay.
They often do it this way, and they'll raise one arm up, or they do it together. A
Together.
better way is to actually do it not both together. To
Oh,
alternate.
really?
It's easier on you.
Oh yeah, definitely is.
But this is a harder way on your shoulders, and you get about 90 degrees and it tends to strain the shoulder. So what we like to do is turn the wrist like this. Again, it takes the strain off the shoulder as you're doing your alternated rep.
Oh yeah,
And these are just
it
nice
does.
dumbbell series of exercises to help build shoulder strength. Great job. You'll have those deltoids before you know it.
That's right.
The next one is some of the exercises I use in my office. If you'd like to stand up, Stacy.
Okay.
This is for rehab of the shoulder. And the shoulder's scapula is so important with the shoulder. We always want to start by warming up the scapula. And we do a rowing movement. So go ahead and pull those towards you, right under your rib cage. Good. We have a new band, so it shouldn't snap. And that's perfectly done. And so the idea here is you're pulling your elbows back as far as you can go. And that's going to really warm your whole shoulder girdle up and strengthen the scapula and the rhomboid muscles. This is particularly good for that ache in the mid-back that people get. The next one is a low to high exercise. If you take this and we reach across your body and reach across like this and go high up in the air like that. And down.
Oh, look, I'm in Saturday Night Fever.
There you go, that's right.
I got my John Travolta on right
You
here.
keep that arm, but it's wonderful for the back side of the shoulder and these movements. Exercise helps stabilize this hypermobile joint. Some people are just way too hypermobile, they need joint strengthening. So we would do 3 sets of 12 of that.
Okay.
Or you can do like a set of warm-ups and then do maybe a 20 till you really fatigue and then be done. Because the best results are often when you go just to the point where you start to lose your position and you can't do another one. That's the best results. It doesn't have to take a long time. The next one is going from high to low.
Okay.
So if you want to reach across that way,
Okay.
I'll just be up here, keeping your arm straight, and reach your arm all the way back, keeping your arm straight, go right down to your pocket, back fisting it. All the way down.
Just like
Good.
this?
And then when you come back up, You've always wanted to do it. Go ahead and kiss your bicep.
Mwah.
There you go. That helps you get the right position. I actually say that to patients in the office. Come all the way up and like that. So
Big
this is an
smooch.
oblique shoulder exercise from high to low, and it really helps condition the shoulders. We get a lot of cases that are just, they're in misery for years with their shoulder, and through the right adjustment in the neck, the shoulder, and the right exercises, it's really exciting to see people come back around. So excellent. The last one is an external rotation. We'll go ahead and stand up,
Okay.
put it in your left hand,
Okay.
and you go across, externally rotating. Turn it all the way out like that, keeping your elbow in. And we take a few seconds to finish that because it's really working the short rotator cuff muscles, helping stop the impingement. So in our next section, I had the privilege of interviewing Daphne Oz. Daphne is the daughter of Dr. Oz, so it was exciting to have her in. She's actually a natural food chef, and being a chef, we love to follow her on nutrition. And so stay tuned. Daphne is also won an Emmy Award for her co-hosting the show on ABC called The Chew. So please stay tuned.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to Maximize Living. I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen. Our guest today is Daphne Oz. Daphne is a natural food chef and New York Times best-selling author of Relish, an adventure in food, style, and everything fun. She's also an Emmy Award-winning co-host of ABC's lifestyle series, The Chew. She's also the daughter of Mehmet Oz of the Dr. Oz Show. So welcome, Daphne.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you. Daphne, I understand it's National Grilled Cheese Month. And is it true that grilled cheese lovers have a little different personality, something you call cheesinality?
It is true. It is all true. And aren't you just grateful to be alive in National Grilled Cheese Month 2016? It is a celebration I can definitely get behind. And it is true. I mean, I've never met anyone who doesn't love a grilled cheese, but they do studies on this stuff, and 86% of us who love a grilled cheese, we're more charitable, more adventurous, and we love to travel. So I hope that you have lots of grilled cheese lovers in your life, because clearly we are lots of fun.
That makes me want to go have a grilled cheese sandwich for breakfast,
I
dear.
know. You could do it with an egg on top, a little bacon in there. There's so much you can do with a grilled cheese. I think that's what is so exciting for people. I'm here on behalf of Arla today, and we've been creating all these delicious recipes all morning. And I think people are always surprised. Like, they think of grilled cheese in their head, they think of the classic American grilled cheese with a dip in tomato soup, or even cheddar grilled cheese. But now you've got combinations. We've got one here, fontina with avocado and bacon, or you've got some smoky sweet Gouda that we're doing with things like jalapeno and roasted peppers. One of my personal favorites, it's actually from my new cookbook, which is coming out this fall, called The Happy Cook, is this combo with caramelized onions, some sliced pears, one of my favorite fruits to add into a grilled cheese like this to give it that sweet savory combo, and they get really creamy and delicious and caramelized in this combination. And I will say, one of the tricks that I have for making a delicious grilled cheese, if you're looking to just update any recipe, is instead of butter, which is obviously a great combo with your grilled cheese, I like to use mayonnaise. I find that when you spread that on the toast, it gets this gorgeous golden brown, slightly nuttier, sweeter taste. I've got one going here in the pan, which I wish I could share with you, but you can see how caramelized and that crispy golden brown exterior, and that's because the mayonnaise has that egg in there, so it really has this great ability to make any grilled cheese look elevated, which I think is what you're seeing on restaurant menus all over town right now, and you can recreate in your own home very easily.
Oh, that sounds awesome. What do you enjoy about making grilled cheese sandwiches with your family?
Everything. I mean, certainly the eating part, but I've got a 2-year-old daughter and a 5-month-old son who's not quite eating grilled cheeses yet. But my daughter and I, Philo, she loves to make her own grilled cheeses. And believe it or not, we'll do a classic cheddar, and then she'll put olive tapenade on there, or she might want to put spinach on there. It's a great way to really get your kids, any picky eater, experimenting with something really, really, comforting and classic, and taking it and updating it in a way that they're guaranteed to love. And if you want more delicious recipe inspiration like this, you can head on over to arlausa.com.
Oh, that sounds awesome. How about sneaking in some grilled asparagus or grilled zucchini for our veggie-deprived little munchkins?
Oh, yes. I know you and I are on the same wavelength. We're always looking for ways to get more veggies in there, more healthy little add-ons. And I absolutely think any leftover sauteed vegetables you might have, or like you just suggested, the asparagus sounds delicious to me. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Our guest has been Daphne Oz, and we'll hope to talk again. Thank you much,
Yes,
Daphne.
for sure. I love that. Thanks.
This is Dr. Patrick Andersen with Maximize Living. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Maximize Living. We covered a lot about the shoulder today. We learned why there are so many shoulder injuries and problems. We demonstrated a typical shoulder exam, discussed different adjustments that can be used, and demonstrated typical rehab exercises. Shoulder pain, like neck and back pain, can literally wreck your life. If what we've shown you today was helpful, please do not try to treat yourself, but get professionally evaluated. Get a chiropractic extremity checkup and see if your shoulders pass these tests. I'd love to help you. If you or someone dear to you is having shoulder issues, call our office at 608-833-1282 or schedule online at madisonml.com for a no-obligation checkup. This may very well make the difference for you. For Maximize Living, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen. Until next time, live well and God bless.